What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Spencer doing a quick deck profile for Evil Eye Punk. This is a really fun deck, and I think the thing that the deck is obviously just super casual, but my favorite thing about this deck is that when it actually starts rumbling, considering how old Evil Eye is and how non-recent their support is, it's impressive what this deck can do. A lot of evenly balanced. I love decks that have evenly balanced disruption because I don't hate losing to Dark Ruler. It's such a bad feeling, you know. It's like if you're playing a deck that loses a Dark Ruler, I feel like you're playing the wrong deck. This is 100% a deck that can do some really awesome stuff. And the fact that the equip spell, the main equip spell, is not a once per turn, it adds itself back from the graveyard. These two archetypes, I think, are meant for each other. It's just the main deck support, once it gets up there, they're going to be able to do some really cool things. So we'll go ahead and just go through it. Let me go ahead and throw all the punk stuff first. It's just a really, really, really small engine, right? It is Foxy Tune, Deer Note, and Xiamen, because you don't want to normal summon. You want to use your normal summon on something like Watcher. Because if you're normal summoning this, it's kind of bad, because even if you do go into Chaotic, Magical Dragon, and you add this off of it, well, you just use your normal summon. So that's obviously not a good thing. But otherwise, the engine's fantastic. If you send this to the graveyard, it's good. If you send this to the graveyard, it's good, right? And anything else really helps you because you run 2 copies, because you are going to go through the top 5 of your deck most of the time. The entire deck is based around opening Emergency Teleport or finding it, through Pot of Prosperity for the most part. It's kind of how the deck works, you know what I mean? So yeah, you're going to be milling a bunch of these cards, and you just want to be able to banish them with Evil Eye Celine. If you mill this and another Evil Eye card, you're in just such a good spot. Such a good spot. And you send this to the graveyard, it's good as well. A lot of good mills. So I think this deck should be tailored towards milling no matter what. But then I do have Destrudo and I do have Snow. You're sending a lot of cards to the graveyard, which is always, obviously good with Snow. This one, I don't know. This is probably one card that I would take out. But I would keep in Destrudo. It's good to see in your hand. It's good to mill, obviously. It works really well to go into stuff like Psychic and Punisher, or all these other tech cards I have. Black Rose. Some of these are a little silly. Shooting Riser is good to send Snow. So there are technically situations where this is decent. It's just not really great to see in your opening hand. It's only a 1-of, so what are the chances? Not super duper high. But nonetheless, that's kind of how I play this. The 3 of the Cerseal, Watcher of the Evil Eye, is obviously the best card. It searches everything. It can either search Evil Eye Celine, or it can search one of the really cool traps, depending what you have in your hand. It's just good stuff. This is interesting at 3, but I do feel like it's necessary, because it kind of sucks to see in your hand, but there are cards like Foxy Tune which can get it, and also you get to mill it, right? So if you're only running 1 or 2, you're going to see it less off your mills with Chaos, and you don't want to do that, right? You want to see this amongst the pile and then send it to the graveyard, because it is a really good extender. It's literally just spinny. This is it's spinny, except it can't send itself to the graveyard. That's the only bad part. This is a free special summon from the hand, so I think these aren't bad, right? This Foolish Burials, one of the Evil Eye cards to the graveyard. So normally that's going to be Evil Eye Celine. I think in the new wave support, it'd be really cool to see some different ones. I think that would be maybe the next level when it comes to main deck support, because it's a little airtight. It's a little airtight when it comes to the things like your monster counts and stuff, because there's not much to work with right now. This would definitely probably drop to 2, and I would love to see an Evil Eye card that had an effect when either sent to the graveyard, banished, or both, right? 2 Ash and 2 Effect Veiler, so I do run the Celine package in here. I think any casual deck kind of has to. And I kind of run these little 2-ofs because, just again, because of the milling. This isn't bad to see off the top, right? With Chaos, you might be able to add an interruption there. And if you get to send this and you add this to your hand, this gets sent to the graveyard. Obviously, it's just a lot of advantage, which is pretty nice. Harpies, because this is a casual deck, I made it a casual deck profile, if that makes sense. Probably wouldn't main this in competitive scene, but you're not going to take this to competitive scene. When you talk about casual, it's a lot of back row. Triple Tactical Talents, a lot of low-level hand traps are also popular, when it comes to casual and everything like that. So that's why I like to play Triple Tact in this deck. Triple Pot of Prosperity. And also I like that these cards aren't by nature opposed to each other. I think that's kind of a cool thing. Because, yes, you can't draw off of it, but looking at your opponent's hand normally is, really, really good. Getting hand knowledge and all that kind of stuff. Evil Eye, I like to run 1-ofs for a lot of these cards, because just in case you are able to search it, if you open up Evil Eye Celine, I do this in most combo decks. I always play these really weird 1-ofs, just in case, you know, you have these cracked hands where you open up Evil Eye Celine and something, you know, like Pareidolia, whatever, if that's how you say it, and then you can just kind of search this extra interruption on top. So that's why I run this one of. It's also a quick play spell and trap destruction, so it can't be negated as well, which could also help against Mystic Mind if it's around any longer. Emergency Teleport, obviously this card is just really good. Evil Eye Celine is a really decent card. It's probably the best equipped spell in the game, or close to it, right? Note targeting and destruction protection, adds itself back, gains attack for your monsters. Really cool, really like a really good design for an equip card. Like it's kind of like the only way that equip cards can be good, right? Because naturally you're going -2 when you lose this, but at least you get to add this card back to your hand, so it helps supplement the weaknesses of Evil Eye while also having good effects on an equip card. 3 of the field spell, Evil Eye Domain. That's probably a good way to just say it, not say the other word. Pareidolia. Let's get an Evil Eye monster. The effect isn't great, but luckily if it's destroyed, you get to add a monster back. So most of the time what you're going to do is you're going to search this, add Searchful to your hand, search, and then during that standby phase, you have to destroy a card in your field. You destroy this, and you get to add an extender back to your hand, something like Familiar of the Evil Eye. So it actually is a little bit better than you might think. It does have a good purpose. It's more of like a continuous spell, but like what's the difference in modern Yu-Gi-Oh? 2 Imperm, so not a ton of going second cards. It's not really a going second deck. And then this card's really good, so it's okay, I should say. I would love to play this at 1. But when your opponent special summons a monster, you get to activate this card to target one of those monsters in attack position with less attack, which is normally pretty easy like early in your opponent's combos, right? Also, when they activate a card, like some of these are already going to like above like 2200, which your opponent more than likely at the beginning of their special summoning is going to have a pretty low attack monster, you know what I mean? And if they have special summon multiple monsters, you get to take multiple of them. You actually just take control, which is kind of cool. It's also treated as an Evil Eye, so it can go into Link monsters. Like it's a continuous spell as well. There's a lot of good benefits to it. This card is pretty decent. This is a spell and trap negate that cannot be negated as long as Evil Eye of Celine, which that's the whole idea behind the deck. So I like that you can activate it without Evil Eye of Celine because you just never know, even though that's the whole archetype, the idea behind it. It's cool to know that it's still a counter trap. I wish it negated monster effects too. That would be like really insane, and maybe there will be a counter trap in the future for that, which would obviously be really nice. So we'll have to wait and see. But nonetheless, like these cards, like the fact that they can't be negated, it just helps a lot. Like it's unaffected counter traps, which is obviously just really nice. Going on to the extra deck, it's not an exact science, but Psychic End Punisher is always kind of decent because you're paying life points with your punk stuff, and you're paying life points, you know, with the trap. I think this card, no matter how you build it, has to be in it because it's like this has to be one of the best decks to utilize paying life points, like more than any other deck in the entire game of Yu-Gi-Oh. Other than maybe like the Winged Dragon of Ra. Chaos Ruler, there's no surprises here, right? You want to mill cards, you want to add this to your hand, you want to send this to the graveyard. A lot of good stuff to mill. That's the whole idea. So Quantum, so I run a few rank 7s, 3 rank 7s because of how good it works with Destrudo. And most of the time you're going to banish these off of Product Prosperity anyways. So they're not too important, but it does come up every once in a while. Number 38, so this is part of that combo with Deer Note. It actually brings back an 8, so you have 2 8s on the board in Chaos, you know, in your Deer Note, so you can just go into like another interruption, which is always just a good thing. I do run IP Masquerena because it's pretty easy to get 2 bodies on the board that aren't links. This is always kind of decent interruption. Access Code Talker goes along with Celine, no surprises there. Zersul the Ruler. These cards, the 2 Evil Eye links are okay. I feel like you're going to go into this one a lot more. It's just going into a link just... It is a once per turn pop, right? And that obviously can't be targeted or destroyed by card effects or battle. So the card is pretty good, and if you strategically place this, you might be able to negate an opponent's monster. It's a mandatory effect, so you're going to be able to gain a lot of attack. This one's okay. I do think there should be there needs to be a Link 1. I feel like that's the only way that any of these old archetypes become relevant, right? Prank Kids Link 1, it busted it. I'm not saying it would be busted, but like maybe if the Link 1 adds Evil Eye of Celine, it just helps you so much with this, so you can search something more meaningful. And that's an Evil Eye card. The Link 1 obviously would be, and I may end up doing a little bit of a video like I've done before, where I've done like custom cards, even though it's custom cards and that's kind of cringe. The reason I do some of these videos is to kind of look at archetypes to see what they need. So I would actually love to do that with Evil Eye as I started playing it. Unicorn, like all the Nightmare package, Unicorn, Phoenix, Cerberus. Again, these are just kind of easy targets with Product Prosperity, and also just decent targets with IP Masquerena. because there's going to be times where you have extra bodies that you don't really know what to do with. Onto the side, so Gozen's obviously like very good because it's an all dark archetype. So Gozen Mesh can just beat your opponent. The Dimensional Barrier is always just like kind of good. It's like one of those auto win cards, I think, that these kinds of archetypes need. Evenly Match is always good in casual, along with Cosmic Cyclone and Lightning Storm. I think these are like casual staples right here. And this can be too, especially when you're talking about casual. Like some of them are just like very like one note going. And if it stopped your opponent from link something, that'd be kind of crazy. But it doesn't. But most of the time, again, I think it's pretty good for what it is in the casual scene. Let me know what you guys think about this kind of in-depth deck profile in the comment section down below. What are you doing with Evil Eye that I'm not? But other than that, that's going to do it for today's video, and I will see you guys next time.